Never gets old.
It was a stutter.
It looks like we got another unscripted. I guess I'll try to take the reins on this one as best I can.
I mean, why do we even have any topics? We all know what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
How could you not talk about anything?
Yeah.
Is he fired yet?
That there's new women. There's new women WWF Tag Champions. Absolutely. What else would we be talking about?
What else would we be talking about?
They finally unvacated the women's tag titles. What? Oh, there's something else that happened.
So, I guess.
And I let it breathe this week too, because everyone, of course, was just absolutely like monkeys fucking a football online. Between Sunday night when it happened, just like all the way till like all the way until Wednesday. From like Sunday to Wednesday, it was just
flipping out, bro.
The internet was on fire, and like that's all you could like hear about.
Oh.
People were even putting. I was doing the same thing until I started seeing it on the posts. They're like, someone put the post of like, and then several followed afterwards. It was like, I know all you're doing is scrolling and trying to update. And I was like, yeah. All I was doing, like, I was pulling down, trying to refresh the page to see if any news site would throw something out there, something new.
Yeah.
But no, it just shows you what a cesspool, like, fucking Twitter is. Like, because everyone's copying off each other. So it's like you refresh it, and you might see a different, quote-unquote, news source.
We got
like it's just regurgitated.
We got ripped
Sources say.
Podcast this week on a joke. Like, did you guys see it?
Well,
no.
Like,
what are you talking about?
When you go to O.W.P 2019 and you'll see the meme that we made talking about hey bro, and all the bro stuff that we do, and CM Punk called out someone with his mom's bank account, bro, dick move, bro, and not even a day later another wrestling podcast used the same picture with the same, but just
I think that's everywhere. I think that picture's used for everything now.
Yeah,
we girl screaming loud in the guy's ear.
Into the guy's ear. She's like, "Yo, bro!" But I was just like, "It's just like you said. It's just whoever hits it first." And I don't know. I was like, "Stop, thief!" That's why I wrote that.
I just didn't. I didn't want to talk about this when everybody else did because I mean nobody cares anyway. But like,
and not to mention, we still don't know everything either. We don't. I mean, we haven't heard the aftermath of the other two. We don't know what's going to happen with Punk. It's all speculation.
I have a boring take on it, like just because like I don't know everything. I don't know what Tony Khan's books are. I don't know what they're doing exactly. I still don't know what's going on. Like, and I see both sides. Like, and maybe the weird wrestling fan in me is like I want it to be a work for some odd reason. Like I want something cool to come out of it.
I think we all do.
I don't want it just to be shitty, like a real life event that happened, because like it just shows the shitty side of all these people, especially CM Punk. And whether you thought you knew he was or not before, it's so weird. I just feel it's really weird that he did what he did. And I know everyone's been analyzing it for the past week, and even people that are closer to inside sources. But I don't know. I'm surprised in the sense that like. This is a very deliberate thing. Like, this is something that he would do, I don't know. Like, when he left WWF, he just left. He didn't do anything on camera. He just left. He was like, I'm backstage, I'm fucking something.
Yeah, all of his outlandish.
I'm sick and I'm hurt, I'm gone. Yeah. And then he was quiet for like months, and then he did the Colt Cabana interview, and then everything. And by the way, his timeline on that doesn't line up either, because it's 2022, and he's like, I haven't talked to that guy in 10 years. I was like, I think Punk left
he didn't say 10.
Right after the day after the Royal Rumble in 2014. He's like, we haven't been friends for like a decade.
He said more like 7 to 8.
Oh, did he? I thought for some reason he was saying like I thought he was saying like 10. I was like, dude, that doesn't even line up in my mind. He might have said
almost 10 because he kind of kept repeating the statement a little bit in the statement.
Yeah.
You can tell he's just pissed off and irritated. I mean,
but not even that. Even almost 10 years ago. I mean, I guess if it's almost 10, like that would make sense. Like shortly after the podcast came out, where he was on it with Colt Cabana, shit hit the fan because that WWE doctor sued them. Yeah, and so that's what started it. So I guess according to the rumor, that CM Punk agreed to pay for his legal bills, and then shit fell apart between them, and I don't know what that means.
Who shares a bank account with their mother?
Yeah, and I don't know. I've never heard too many people.
Did you have to do that? Yeah, I mean, does he have to say that? I don't know. I mean, if you're trying to
no, he doesn't. That's the thing. Is like it's weird.
That's the problem.
And from the beginning, people on our text thread and other people were saying like, look, if it was like a work, why would he bring up that? that is something that Colt Cabana. It's
Has
not like Colt
nothing to
Cabana's
do with
gonna.
what he
Yeah,
did.
it's not like Colt Cabana's gonna get his comeuppance, or Colt Cabana's gonna have a big main event match
But
with
let
CM
me
Punk and
ask
pay
the
it off
question,
or
because
whatever.
all you hear is the response. He had to have been asked that question, right?
No, he said it. There's video.
No.
He said it unprompted in the beginning.
But it is unprompted on that scrum, but it's not unprompted. I guess like what was bothering him since the last time he was able to talk. Apparently, he can't talk at all publicly unless it's a scrum. Apparently, so he like what he found out was just like people were bringing like I guess I don't remember when this happened, but after Ring of Honor was bought, they kind of Colt Cabana wasn't doing a lot on AEW TV anyway. He was just hanging around with the Dark Order, like, and barely doing anything with the Dark Order. And so he was pulled off TV, and ironically, that was around the same time that Punk came back, and everyone's like, Punk got him fired, or Punk got him pulled off TV. And then I guess Colt Cabana went to Tony Khan and said, when am I going to be back on TV? He's like, well, no, we're whenever we finally start the television show for Ring of Honor, wherever that's going to be, you'll be there. You won't be on AEW anymore. So he thinks that the Young Bucks leaked that he got Colt Cabana fired.
Yeah.
From or demoted from AEW main
And was
roster
that in
down
the
to
dirt
Ring of
sheets?
Honor.
And I don't read them. You and I've had.
I don't think it was in the dirt sheet. I don't know that it was. I don't know the answer to that. I don't think it was. And that's why I kind of value people like us talking about this more, because I think people who are like just all over the dirt sheets are even worse. Like they're all just making their own narrative and trying to. They act like they know CM Punk and they know the Young Bucks and they know Omega. I'm like, you don't fucking know any of them. You don't even know what it's like back there in the locker room. You don't even know anything. You know. For months, a couple months before, it was brewing in the back that CM Punk's been unhappy, and there's been unrest back there, and several wrestlers have asked for their release, and you know it's been a shitstorm that's been fanned by the cancerous internet anyway. So some of them have, but it's called a fucking wrestling company, right?
It's called a business, you know, because you can't get everybody over. You can't get everybody on TV,
right?
They're overloaded,
and I get you know. I can't believe I'm going to say this, kind of Cuz's point, because Cuz is like, but he hyped himself as the savior promotion, as the promotion you can go to, as the promotion that loves the workers, as the promotion this. And then I was like, right, maybe he shouldn't have said that, because it doesn't matter what company you're with. Even if it's a good company and you like it, it's going to get overcrowded sometimes. Not everyone's voice is going to get heard. People are going to get disgruntled. People are going to leave. You know, but I also don't fault him for hyping his own. I don't fault him for hyping his own product. Yeah.
Well, Vince's talent before it was like a completely billion-dollar company and he didn't have time for everyone is he would tell you something to your face where you thought you were the greatest thing in the world, and when you left, you're like, I didn't get an answer to my question about how it was going to be used or whatever. I can only give you an opportunity.
It reminds me of Lorne Michaels.
Yeah,
Lorne Michaels. They were notorious for having people wait outside their office for like 2 goddamn hours. And then finally they would come in and I'd be so mad and I had all this stuff rehearsed to how I'm going to go off on them or whatever. And then I would get in there and he would somehow diffuse the bomb, because Vince is really good and Lorne Michaels is really good at like just talking you down right away, because they've seen the same person come through the door over and over and over.
They also know who's outside the door.
Right.
And they know, and they're like, hey, what's you mad about?
It's your first time walking in there. They see 50
but
of
Vince
you
already
every
heard
day
through the rumor mill, hey,
same...
so-and-so's unhappy. Vince already heard the rumbling. So he's seen a disgruntled face walk in a billion times. Yeah, and so they're all ready to go. Vince diffuses them. Then they're like, next thing I know, 10 minutes later, we're leaving. He's patting me on the back, walking me out the door. Ha ha, pal! Wham! Slapping him on the butt on the way out or whatever. And then like they're like, I didn't fucking say anything I rehearsed in my mind. Like, he completely diffused me.
What the hell just happened?
I forgot what I was even mad about, you know, kind of thing. And maybe Tony Khan doesn't have that ability. It's obvious that he does not.
No. Have you seen him?
Right.
That's not just his body language, the way he awkwardly hugs everybody. I
don't know what the structure is back there. You know, so many people think, you know, when you read online, like they know what AEW structure is back there. I don't know what their structure is back there.
Let's dig into what we do know, right? So, like, the EVP statement, they said more than once, is what obviously, I guess...
You can't manage a target.
And for those people who don't know, the EVPs are executive vice presidents, and they were kind of... I want to say it was Cody one when he was there?
I think he was.
Yeah.
It was Cody, the Young Bucks, and Omega. But Hangman Page...
Isn't Assman...
He's not an EVP.
Hangman's not an EVP, but he's like a really close guy into the Inner Circle, which I think is why Jericho made that faction, like when he first started. It's called the Inner Circle. So, like, Hangman Page is like really close to the Bucks and them or whatever. So he's considered sort of like a higher up, if you will. But yeah, the 4 primary ones were Omega, the Young Bucks, and Cody. And then Cody left, and then it was just the other 3. Apparently, CM Punk's hated them since he's come in, and they've apparently, according to him, not liked him either. And so and that's also the danger, right? Everybody's like, I don't want scripted promos anymore. Well, when you let them go off now, unfortunately, in this day and age, everybody plays for sound bites. Back in the day, there was no such thing as a sound bite. I mean, there kind of was on like the evening news, but it wasn't something that people fought for. When wrestlers cut promos on each other, even if they got a little personal, it was to advance their character and advance the storyline. Nowadays, all people want is like snippets to be able to be put on Twitter, Facebook,
and I think it's been pretty
you know.
obvious that a few people went into business for themselves these last 2 or 3 weeks.
And Punk's
Heyman did it.
silly
CM
Billy.
Punk responded to it. Yeah.
Punk's a silly man if he really thinks that like if it's like outlaw, promo allowance in that company, everybody's gonna rip on him. I'm surprised as UFC. Well, I mean, they've even made MJF and Eddie Kingston made UFC jokes. Like it's everywhere. It's going to be everywhere. Both the promos that Kingston and MJF cut on Punk during their feuds had just as much shit in it as Adam Page. But for some reason, when Adam Page cut that promo and said the phrase like, "You say you're for the workers," like, and you're not, like that pissed Punk off, like just to no end. That stuck in his for some reason. And then he started saying, you heard him say at the Scrum that he overheard, or I guess Heyman Page recently did an interview where he just says, I don't really take advice from other people when they give it to me. I just kind of feel things out. And I don't think Page meant it to sound as bad.
No, he didn't.
It sounds like he's just free talking. Again, you give a company freedom. You don't have any guidance. We would. I can't believe WWE stopped the talent from doing their own TikTok or OnlyFans or whatever. Well, they're doing it because they're fucking governing this shit. Like. You notice that a lot of WWE talent, they don't really go that much out on a limb when they quote something on their own Twitter or on their own Instagram. They get personal, but they don't fucking there's been a couple situations that I'm sure got reined back in. They know.
No, they're scared to death of the office and the heat in the office. That's
one
it.
stupid thing that goes too far, your fucking phone's ringing.
We'll see what happens.
There's no danger of that in AEW.
But Triple H might
exactly
loose the reins a little bit. We'll see. But.
That's how Vince ran it with an iron fist and the office and the pressure, and you just didn't for fear of being buried.
Triple H is a little bit more like empathetic and a little bit more on the surface. He looks more of like a guy of the workers, to quote Punk. But I think Triple H and Stephanie are the good cop, bad cop. I think Stephanie's the one that fucking lays the hammer down when back there, and Triple H does too. I'm not saying he doesn't make hard decisions, but I mean Triple H is the hey guys, wow, good job, give me a hug, let's cry, Whereas Stephanie's like that fucking guy needs to shut up on Twitter, and he's like okay, like I could easily see that happening. Not that Stephanie's a mean person, because countless people have been like Stephanie. She's got to be a bitch because she's the fucking owner's daughter. Well, not anymore, but now she still is his daughter. But
you read Justin Roberts' book of how they took the credit and the glory for Connor and the charity piece from Justin Roberts. It's stepping on people to get ahead, and it's perception is reality. And
business, man. This is not the time to celebrate the WWE practice just because we see AEW in a bit of trouble.
Course.
And I don't even want to say shambles. Again, when there's smoke, there's fire. And a lot of people were saying that about 3 years before, WCW went under. They were the Bischoff. There's unrest. Hogan and
There's
Nash
been
don't
that
get
comparison.
Along. Bischoff's like, shut the fuck up. There's no problems back here. And then Bischoff has that meeting where he told everyone to their face that no one in this room is drawn except for Hogan and a couple other people, and Flair sitting there fucking really, when you get these really, it doesn't even have to do. Maybe it's an experience, because even though Bischoff didn't have a lot of experience in pro wrestling. I mean, he was a part of Vern's dying AWA in the literal dying years, where it was just garbage. And so that was the only. Then he was a C announcer in WCW, and then everybody else shit the bed. And they're like, let's give this fucking Ken doll lookalike a fucking chance. And he just happened to have the formula and happened to kind of know what Vince did, and he knew what to copy and what not to copy. And then I don't think Bischoff had the fucking. He said a billion times, he's like, dude, I was never that good at creative, so I kind of stepped away from it. Rather than embracing it and at least know what was going on, even if I couldn't contribute, he's like, I kind of just sort of signed off on whatever, and I backed away. Bischoff knew right away that Bischoff needed so much more to succeed, and he just didn't have it. It wasn't just that Bischoff didn't own the place. I think even if Bischoff owned the place, that unrest was going to happen no matter what. We're seeing it with Tony Khan. Everyone in the beginning was like, oh, Tony owns it like Vince, so it's going to be a competitive promotion. I'm like, if you don't,
no, he doesn't. He doesn't own it like Vince at all. It's leadership. It's like Vince had a small group of people that did his bidding and was in total lockstep with what he wanted, and he said, "Do this," and he would filter it through them.
And at the end of the day, he's like, "Right, guys," like basically that creepy story that Russo told in the elevator that day. Went right before it closed, like Vince dropped him off at the elevator. He's like, "All right." It was like 2 a.m, and they've been just writing and fucking going crazy all day about production notes. And Russo's like, "I want it to die." And I went into the elevator, and Vince stopped. And as the elevator's closing, I just see his face look at me, and he goes, "Did I get everything, pal?" And then the fucking elevator's closed. And I was like, "Yeah." Like, that's how Vince was. Vince knew at the end of every day, he checked in with you like, "We're still speaking my voice, right, pal?" Like, and you're like, "Yes, Vince." And it just, even on your dying moment when you were just going to drop dead from exhaustion, he's right there to be like, "I have way more energy than you. We're good, right?" And you're like, "Yeah, Vince, sure."
But
like, and he just
even the new announcements a couple weeks ago that Tony Schiavone was going to be like the head of talent creative to step in and make sure that they were happy. But I think that was an attempt to maybe before this really blew up. Before it was like the fuse that kind of lit. Like there is no other. If Tony is the main voice,
the guy who is best friends with all the girls in the back, and I don't mean that like he's a pervert or whatever. Like he's like Mick Foley. Like they're completely family men, and they like being friends with women. And I mean that like I don't mean that as a creepy thing at all. But Schiavone's going to be the voice of reason. Schiavone's going to be the bullshit. Like,
Sanjay Dutt or whatever was supposed to be kind of also like kind of big. So if he's building his small inner circle properly, and if it was because it was supposed to be the EVP, so if it's not going to be Omega and the Bucks and Cody, and we don't know why Cody left and whether Cody left because he was falling out with Omega and the Bucks themselves, or wasn't happy with his role because Tony Khan wasn't giving him a full voice as an EVP and creator of the business, and it still is just Tony, then that's on Tony. So if this is all
pretty good for Cody right now, I'll tell you that.
Right, and if this is all stemming from, because Tony was sitting right next to Punk, did not stop him, was overtalked by him, was emasculated by CM Punk, by all accounts knew what CM Punk had something to say, and CM Punk prompted it. And then the biggest question for me, pivoting a little bit, is that the actual rumors that the Bucks took the AEW head of legal to the locker room with him. So if the Bucks took the head of AEW legal as a legal representative to Punk's locker room with him,
Scrum happened or whatever,
then they're not there to kick down before. To the locker room, because the head of legal saw apparently the entire thing and was in the room for the entire thing. So
after the scrum,
after the scrum, but to Punk's locker room. So the story and angle of the Bucks winning and going and kicking down the door is bullshit. If they did take the head of AEW legal to talk it out with Punk.
I saw the N64 reenactment. I believe it. It's so funny.
I'm sold on it.
I hope it sucks.
The creativity's
when
been great on social media,
and us wrestling fans, we watch wrestling to lose ourselves or whatever. I do feel bad for Punk fans because he had a lot of fans that believed in him. And that when he came back, they were like, "Oh, he's going to prove that big evil machine wrong. And he's going to get in a promotion now, and he's going to show that he had the heart." I feel bad for his diehard fans. I really do. I feel bad for Cuz because Cuz was burned by him a long time ago, and that's why Cuz hates him. He never admits it, but I'm just like he broke Cuz's heart after he left, and then he had all those negative interviews.
This is where I've always felt about Punk, and I'm not trying to say that he just proved me right because I think we're yet to see because. Obviously, it sounds like he was injured either in the match or during this little fight that they had.
I think it was during the match. He was injured in the match. Yeah.
So maybe he wanted to blow it up because he knew he was going to be out for a while, and he just got crowned, and he's like, "I'm going to blow this shit up. I'm pissed off. I'm hurt." And he's upset. So there's
roll with that because maybe roll with that.
I don't think he knew the altercation would happen afterwards. I think the altercation happened afterwards.
And that's fair enough as well.
Yeah.
Here's my problem though. I feel like he's trying to prove me right because I've spoken on Punk several times. I enjoy his, I don't want to say pipe bombs because he hates that. I don't want to try to contribute to that conversation. But those promos are great. And what
he's great on the mic. He's great.
Yeah, and what he did for the business after he left in the midst of controversy is why he was in the position he is to make so much money with AEW. So I got to say kudos to him. He came in at the right time. And I even had a bet on it when he would come back. I don't remember. It was weird. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is when this happens, I'm like, I am reluctant to believe his stories of WWE. Like he might be even embellishing there. Again, I know they were bad. I know he probably got a bad beat over there.
But maybe maybe he was a bad apple on top of it. Maybe he's right.
It makes
about the
you
WWE
question his validity. Of what happened there. And the truth is somewhere in the middle. That's all I'm saying is like, hey, if you're gonna do this, like, and you did it where everyone can see it, you made it very clear how you felt. He was not happy, and then the scrum that happens afterwards because of it. I'm like, you, like Jess. I think you said he just hit the self-destruct button. Like, he did.
Yeah.
You did.
You know,
Maybe it was a thing where he said a phrase in there. I'm old, I'm hurt, I'm tired, and I work with children. Like, he just looked defeated, and I was just like, maybe that's his
What
truth.
was it?
Whether it is
You know
true or
what?
not.
I think
Coach
if
Boozer
you,
grow up. He said, grow up.
if you actually, if he did know, if he did know he separated his tricep or bicep or whatever, and then he was that upset, but like, there is no reason, whatever excuse that you have as champion in the number one position of the company, to do what you did in that moment.
Hey,
and bury half the locker room.
Before I heard rumors of the backstage scuffle, I was like, this is a fucking work.
Yeah.
Like, he's
I
going to
thought
turn
for sure
heel.
it was a work
And
when I heard it. I was like, that's
in my
good.
mind, I was like, he's going to turn heel. The way he broke the fourth wall in WWF was he just sat on their programming and talked about, like, kind of like behind the stage a little bit. That was the original, Pike bomb.
And just cut my mic off.
So I was like, maybe him and Con are trying to find a way to do it now in 2022 because the internet's so like involved. They're like, what if we don't do it on camera? We do it on the scrum, and people think it's real because it's not on the show. And I was like, that's smart. Like, that's why I thought the whole thing. I'm like, this is a fucking work.
But then when
He's
everybody
gonna
got
turn heel.
suspended, right?
Con's going to come forward and be a heel. He's going to be an on-screen character, and he's going to be a heel, and he's going to finance Punk, almost like Bischoff did the NWO.
He can't.
It's going to be the same
I don't
fucking
think-
thing.
He's not
And,
Bischoff.
I mean,
He
he's
can't
going to
do
be like,
that
yeah, Punk's the
concept.
reason why. The reason why the EVPs in the back haven't been able to get to him is because of me. Because I love Punk. He's the fucking answer. He was our first $1 million house. Like, Tony Khan saying that shit.
They
like,
could
and
write
then
this in. They
making
could.
Hangman Page, Omega, and the Bucks the heroes. Are you fucking kidding me? They'll sell 1 billion tickets for that. And then Punk gets a bunch of people that agree with him. Or maybe it's finally what the New Blood and Millionaires Club should have been in WCW, booked the right way, where Punk has Bryan and Moxley and all them going, dude, this is fucking bullshit.
And he doesn't get touched because he's injured right now, so he doesn't get touched.
Tony called us directly, like he wanted us because you guys' little best friend club like only got him so far, and then your best friend Cody left you.
I hope you're
so
right.
look at us now.
He'd be
We're
so
here.
good.
Yeah.
I was like, my wrestling mind was racing, but then when I started hearing like the Meltzers and all them go, no, listen, this is not fake. This is real. Like, there was really a fight. There's really problems. Like, somebody really got hurt.
Meltzer doesn't know shit.
I was like, fuck. Like, well, I would like to think that. I would like to still think that somehow this is going to come back. Because I kept studying it, going like, there was no cops involved. I mean, if guys with $1 million contracts are getting hit in the face, no one's going to jail? No one? Like, this isn't fucking Harley Race coming up going, you motherfucker, with a taser. In the Texas territory or whatever back in the day,
Yeah.
Like,
There's still
Pulling a gun on Hogan in the restroom? Yeah.
There's still a chance, because the reason why there's still a chance, like, if you notice, no one's been fired. There's still the investigation.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like, let's say
nothing's
Punk
been
is...
announced about Punk, by the way.
But yeah, and let's say Punk is playing chess and not checkers. If he knew right after his match, he's like, fuck, I'm going to be out for months. I know this is bad. My tricep's done. I need to create some relevancy for myself or whatever. Just to your point, he didn't think he was going to be attacked. That was not part of it. But if you blow up something on the way out, you leave all that heat, it's going to be forgotten. And in 8 months, if he's going to be out for 8 months and have surgery, it'll be water under the bridge.
And that's another thing. Like, if he was hurt and it was sporadic because he was hurt and upset, where's Tony Khan to protect him in that? That to me, well, you still got to go talk, bro. Hey, my tricep's torn. I'm just trying to play the other side of it. Like,
because my big thing is, like, everybody was like, MJF went too far. That Khan knew that MJF was going to go out and do a shoot promo, but didn't know he was going to call him a fucking mark and didn't know anything like that. But then here's MJF is back, and I'm like, okay, that's why I'm like, I smell something funny, like,
Yeah.
But again, Dave, I think Dave said it. I don't know if we were talking before we hit record last week or Dave said it on the text, but Dave was like, okay, let's say this is a work. Dave made a very good point. He was like, but it goes against any storyline existing. It almost shits on MJF indirectly. So he's like, why? No one was talking about MJF returning after that scrum. Everybody was talking about Punk.
It ruined the MJF promo.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
It kind of ruined it. And so that's why when Dave said that, I was like, fuck yeah, it's not a work. It's fucking real. God damn it. I was disappointed as a wrestling fan because I'm like, I don't want Punk to go out like this. Not because I'm a major Punk fan, but because I get disgusted with people that are like, "Oh, AEW's going out of business." Like, they really believe that,
and
I'm like,
I don't
know
believe
anything.
That.
Like,
I don't believe that.
But you're not a real wrestling fan if you want that. Just don't watch it. Just
no,
literally
course.
don't watch it. It
And
needs
move
to
back and
exist.
forth.
It has
needs
to.
to be there.
It has to.
I love the fact that it's there. and I'll argue that even WWE says they don't look after it, but they do. They're doing things to be a little better because of it, and they'll take care of the people they want to take care of because of it. The ones they want to keep, they will keep. At the end, of the day,
look at fucking Moxley. My goodness.
Good for him.
I like the Ambrose character, but you can tell he's super comfortable as He loves that Moxley character.
And
awesome.
just look at Cody. I mean,
yeah, Cody.
You go back.
He had to leave, tour the world, and come back, and he's a different wrestler. Like he has when he walks into a room, Cody now, like you feel it.
Man.
He's got the matzah. Like before he didn't have that. He was just this young guy that had the last name Rhodes. Now he's like, when Cody comes out, it's like, oh,
no, I'm the American Nightmare. Deal with it.
Yeah, he's carrying himself like a star, and it's because he went to ROH, New Japan. He went to AEW. He tried to start his own company. Kind of did. With
he built the first All Out from the bottom with Tony, and Tony couldn't have done it without the Bucks and Omega and Cody.
Yeah, it's true. That's what I'm saying.
It was a glorified indie at first, right? With a big bankroll.
Yeah,
and it's needed. It's wanted. Anybody that wants it to fail is stupid. And by
it's
the way,
better wrestling week to week than.
Yeah, you're right.
That's
Craig.
the funny thing, right? So Punk's gone, and then Tony Khan just does this really weird. I don't know what I was expecting.
Yes. Sorry, you're referring to Tony Khan's announcement on the kickoff Dynamite on Wednesday.
Dynamite, and he does this weird taped thing. Now, I'm not saying that he should go out live. I'm just saying that it was
could have gone badly.
It was like Jack Tunney, it was unequivocally.
I'm saying
Andre
that
the Giant is
when you talk, you should probably not read and sound scared. I am being treated well,
blink.
And therefore,
but you know what, though? We've seen him
Punk
live, and he spazzes out live a little bit. So maybe it was best it was taped, and that was probably like take 72
because he's probably freaking out on the inside a little bit. But
we forget that this is personal to him, right? He used to be a fan. He probably still is a fan.
CM Punk, and it's his biggest fine for him that he's able to sign, whatever. But at the end of the day, if they just calm down and put on their big boy pants and look at their roster, they're gonna be fine. Wardlow should.
Totally.
It's time. It's Wardlow time. It's time for
but
Wardlow.
Not even that.
We talked about a few weeks ago in our
Craig,
archives.
we were talking about that after he did that shitty little thing. The little I'm vacating the title and then I'm vacating the trios title, which is fucking sad for the trios title. I thought it was probably the most solid, focused Dynamite in a long time. As long as the product's there, and if the product gets bad, I'll just stop watching it. It won't be because of anything.
I'll
backstage.
The product's bad.
Even call it out. If the Bucks go and Kenny goes, Kenny, save the dog. Thank you, Kenny, for saving the dog. Right.
Oh yeah, explain that, Dave. Yeah, the rumor is that Kenny actually went to, instead of attacking and whatever, got in the fracas, he went to pick up the dog to protect the dog Larry.
I think
freaking out.
I think Kenny should be reinstated immediately just for that. But I'm saying, if Kenny was gone, the Bucks were gone, and Punk was gone, people should still watch. There's still plenty.
I just find it ironic that he saved the dog from the room, and if anything would have bit him, it would have been the fucking dog, but it wasn't. He saves the dog, and Ace bites him. What?
The rumor is, and it's what's funny, as a big joke, as we were actually going to do an episode of a missed opportunity, Ace Steel. Even though he'd literally been around for 7 days before, dropping an F-bomb on television, being Punk's friend, even though no one knows who he is, and then biting Kenny Omega. Yeah. But apparently, Ace Steel's wife is the handler of Larry, or was that night. So whether he thought that Kenny was...
she had a broken foot, by the way. She has a broken foot, by the way, too. Not from the fight, but she had a broken foot in general. And so it just all sounds like a fucking work to me.
Right.
You have Doink the Clown standing in the corner, and you have all this weird shit going on.
That's amazing.
Hornswoggle walks through, it's all weirdness. All of it's just weird.
Yeah, I hope it is work. I hope there's a lot of money to be made in 6 months when Punk comes back and interrupts Omega or something.
Craig,
it's going to fucking blow the house up.
On that. If cooler heads prevail and they all get together and say, "Hey guys, we can make money off of this. Look at what this has done on social media," and then I come back and we make this work, or I come back in 2 weeks without being able to wrestle, but before
turn
the
Punk
faction
heel right away. I don't know why he fights it. Punk only wants to be heel when he can do a straight edge thing, or just to be like a smarmy heel. I'm like, no, you need to be a heel.
You're a natural dick, dude.
That feeds into the people that fucking hate your guts, and they think they know Phil, the guy, the real guy.
He's an asshole in real life. Come on.
Oh, he fucking judges.
Embrace it, and he should be. He should be. When someone calls him by his real name in public and he doesn't like it, I don't blame him.
Hey, Phil. Fuck you, Phil.
Yeah.
Thanks, Phil.
What I thought was fine. I read a tweet or a take today. I don't know whether it was Reddit or whatever that was saying like, you know who Vince McMahon never suspended anyone over a backstage fight. There's been tons of backstage fights.
Brett pulled Sean's hair out. Sean threw that chunk of hair on Vince's desk. It's just an unsafe working environment.
Yeah.
He left. Like
Rougeau's fucking punched Dynamite's teeth in with a brass knuckles.
Out.
It's like,
Vince
you know what
just pulled him in the office. He's
Yeah.
like, did what I hear is
No
true?
more.
No
No
more.
more.
I don't know. All right. Nope. Guys,
Can we make money together?
that's fucking enough.
You're wrestling
Don't-
tomorrow night.
I hate to be that guy, Craig, but
You're
don't tell me
wrestling tomorrow.
Dynamite didn't deserve every bit of that. You know.
Yeah, I did. No, he did.
Hey,
of course.
Dynamite totally
Lower your voice. Lower your voices. Dynamite. Shake Shock's hand. Shock,
love
shake
it.
Dynamite's
That's
hand.
great.
Oh, fuck
See
you. I want you. Okay, I'm sorry, buddy.
We'll see you tomorrow in Poughkeepsie. Fuck.
But
Fine.
right,
Over
like
here.
the problem is the dirt sheets, and maybe that's what they're trying to snuff out right now, and that's what that talent meeting, and you hear all the rumors of like keep it in house. If we had better leadership, this won't happen.
The
and you
internet,
can
the
transform
internet is
this.
too dangerous. Like,
Yeah.
and we don't know how hard WWE had fought over the past decade. Again, we just got appalled. How dare you take their extra revenue of income away? Their OnlyFans, they're fucking barely making it. They're doing fine. And they don't have
They
to
make
pay
good
for their
money.
fucking. They don't have to pay for their cars and fucking hotels anymore, people. Like, it's all in their fucking contracts now. It's not like it was in the fucking 80s where they got their airfare paid, but the wrestlers had to pay the rent-a-cars and fucking file in like clowns in the small car and all that. That shit's not... They get buses and shit and big SUV,
Yeah.
rental SUVs and shit like that. They're fine. They're fucking fine. They don't need OnlyFans. The reason why they did that was so that this shit wouldn't happen. So we're critiquing them going, you're silencing the voices. But really, Vince and them were just like, no, motherfucker. We're trying to like quarantine this cancer so it doesn't become, this internet will fucking be our undoing if we don't stop it.
I will nitpick that a little bit and say that I think there's a middle ground between silencing voices, so not silencing voices, but stopping them from monetizing. Like, no,
Well, I think that they had to do
WWE
it
takes all
totally
your
at first.
ancillary income.
I think they had to totally do it at first to kind of get their arms around it, and now they can do it. But I bet you anything, now that they can do it again, there's a lot of restrictions. We didn't see the sheet.
Yes.
There's
Correct.
They had to run it.
We're going to shut it down for a while, figure it out, and then we will let you slowly roll out
Yes.
your different side projects.
They're back on Twitch, right? At this point, aren't they?
Yeah, I think,
believe so. I believe
and
they can do
even
whatever they want.
even like Consequences Creed calls himself Consequences Creed on his various
Twitch.
podcasts and stuff. So it's like,
That's cool.
It's all good. There it
Yeah,
is.
but I
Figure it
guarantee,
out,
I guarantee
AEW.
they got a sheet.
Figure it
They got
out.
a legal sheet a mile long, going like, you can't talk bad about Vince. You can't talk
Yeah.
bad about Stephanie. You can't talk bad about the company. You can't talk bad about that.
Yeah.
You can't talk about your contract. You can't talk about when it's stuff like that.
you can't show your breasts.
Oh, hey, well, that's probably true.
Figure it out, AEW. We don't know what's going on, but figure it out.
Yeah, you're fucking paid for this
I'm over
shit. I don't want to think about it, please.
Smart Mark says. Yeah, sorry.
It's so funny. It's what Taz
But
said.
it's the most that we've been excited for a while, and we text each other every day, and we share each other a tidbit of news. And why doesn't wrestling every day
The
do that?
problem
Real
is,
life
though,
has
is
to do
this is
that.
all for naught. If it doesn't pay off, it's all for naught. Like,
Yes.
Can you
Yeah.
imagine if a storyline that they played out on television had us talking like this much, and then the payoff happens?
Right.
Like,
Right.
Heaven forbid. Maybe they should at least look at this and go, okay, well, this was real, but we wish this would go away. But let's fucking study this. Like, we're on to something.
And that's how it used to be, though. You get something on the real cusp, and then they would turn it into something.
Yeah.
They would
But
bring
think
that
about where it
realism
happened.
into the
It happened
work.
on the media scrum, which Tony Khan's kind of, he sort of has, I mean, even though other sports do it, he's kind of created this new avenue for wrestling storylines, and he sort of indirectly capitalized on it with the whole Punk thing. I don't think he really knew what he could do with it. Like,
Right.
now, I don't want to say every scrum now, there's fucking, everything becomes stupid and scripted now, and they have, like, things, but it's almost like they were onto something good. I mean, we were all everybody was talking about it. Everybody was like, I mean, everybody that we see online. Maybe nobody cared. You know what I mean? Like, maybe really we just cared,
Right.
and so
It
did a
didn't.
handful of people that nobody cared.
And in our world, it mattered. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
In the wrestling world, it definitely mattered.
And devil's advocate, maybe there are, I'm trying to count in my head, maybe there are 7 guys that are got in a room together and figured this out and promised not to leak anything and has been figured out. And Cabana's part of it, and everyone else is part of it, and all will be revealed months down the road because Tony Khan somehow figured out with the heat from MJF, that kind of worked. So let's roll it out on a bigger platform. Who knows? Doubtful, but who fucking knows?
It's doubtful even about what MJF said, because it's like, unless Tony Khan turns heel and becomes an on-screen character, how are you going to play off the two?
I don't see it.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, so when he's like
Tony
when
Khan
he
is
called
not
him a
Eric
mark,
Bischoff.
I think they knew MJF was going to go away, and maybe MJF was burnt out and just tired, and he wanted to go away. And Khan's like, well, let's have you go out to where people will want you to come back and do something controversial. Let's do a big shoot interview. But the danger about that stuff is like if you don't pay it off, then or if you say something about someone that is not capable of wrestling and paying it off that way, you're in trouble. And I think Tony Khan has a lot of good ideas, and he's a fan. And we've all fan booked and all that stuff or whatever.
Fucking Mark.
If you don't have a payoff, if Tony Khan's not going to be the evil Eric Bischoff 2022, then there's no point in anybody ever saying his name in a promo. There's no point in him ever being there at a scrum.
True.
Why even be sitting there? Like, don't even
why even be on TV?
Look at what MJF did with the spotlight on Wednesday, and actually reference other wrestlers in the other federation and what he kind of wants, and further that like. Either he's completely out of control.
So yeah, he's building a fight with Khan. Like campaign 2024, basically telling Tony Khan, looks like you're gonna have to either pony up dough or I'm going to a real company. Like he's taunted him, and I'll take
the championship.
If Tony Khan doesn't reveal himself to be the fucking Wizard of Oz, then what's the point? Stop talking about him.
And deep down, as a guy, okay, let's pretend Tony, which we know he has been a fan for decades.
The only real Khan that means anything in the business, Jolly Saint Nick.
That's fucking amazing.
So
that would
good.
completely piss him off. But if you are Tony Khan, and if you are kind of a mark, and you did this because it's your biggest hobby, is it your biggest dream to be on camera and to be part of the biggest storylines and be one of the boys?
Yes.
That's why it's all a problem.
It is, but
I am Tony Khan, and I own every one of you guys. Give me a hug. I love you. I love you. And he's just the biggest shit. Like,
but apparently, instead of you're fired, it's you're suspended because he never fires anybody. Like,
just hopes they quit and walk away.
You're indefinitely suspended.
I'm calling my dad. Like, there's a T-shirt of like, I'm calling my dad, or my dad Shad.
Oh, you're onto something.
Yeah.
Tony Khan, I'm calling my dad. I love it.
Call me, Tony.
At this point, I'm like, you know what? You made your bed. Now you got to sleep in it, buddy. But I don't want to be on TV. Well, you're gonna. Look at the stupid, dumb fucking mushroom you have on your head that you call hair. Come on, dude. You're doing all this stuff. You're instigating. Remember when he first started? He had a normal haircut. He wore a suit and tie, and now he's just fucking AEW T-shirts, and he has a fucking big old curly like mushroom. I'm like, you're doing everything that he will do to make people fucking boo him right now. Like that's what you're doing.
The fear in his eyes when he's like, and we have more exciting opportunities. The trios have been
That's why he can't do it.
New tournament tonight
when he doesn't rake CM Punk in the middle of that. Like he's afraid to. He can't. It's not the same.
I was so mad at it. I was like, you pussy.
I got so. What triggered me the most is when Punk's like, when he's talking about his broken foot, he's like, I couldn't even walk my dog, and everybody knows how close I am to Larry. And then Tony Khan legitly looked at him and he goes, like, just like that. And I was like when he did that, I was like, you better be heel, motherfucker. You have got. This has got to be a work. Like all this has to be a work because I hate you right now. Like I can't believe you.
Unscripted.